Pandora's box is about to open wide.
Yeah! Welcome once again to Pandora's box, ladies and gentlemen. We're bringing you the third ever Hillbilly edition.
Oh my word.
The third ever Hillbilly edition of Pandora's box.
Oh,
Why?
there I am. There
Why?
I am.
Why, I hear you ask? Well, because we felt like it, that's why.
Hallelujah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you've had a nice weekend, and we hope you're going to have a nice week. You're kicking off the week on this fine Monday evening with your truly Pandora's box lads. Usually, we'd go by the alias of, yours truly, Obadiah Penny Whistle, Bullwinkle over here,
right.
the mayor of Winkletown.
That's right.
And obviously, we got Drewster the Rooster, Drewster the Bear.
Moose.
But obviously, it's the redneck edition. That's the one I was looking for. I said the hillbilly edition.
Yeah.
The redneck
but
edition.
it's all, redneck edition just comes off the tongue a bit better.
Oh,
in my
yeah, buddy.
opinion.
This is a good word.
So, if those of you that have seen the previous redneck editions will know that this week I'm gonna be Cletus Jackson.
Oh, darn tootin'.
yeah, right back at you.
Cletus Jackson's in the house.
From Jacksonville,
Gentlemen.
California.
Jacksonville, baby. And to the right of me, who usually is Bullwinkle, we got Stretch McCoy.
Stretch McCoy here for your needs and services, ladies and gents.
He's the youngest boy of my second cousin, Dahlia.
That is right.
Over here we got fresh out of the frickin' the sheriff's department, we got Deputy Raymond Jr.
Raymond Jr.
who very kindly has taken time off from his duties hunting outlaws down in the bayou.
Buffalo.
Buffalo down in the bayou. What have the buffalo done to make you want to arrest
They've been
them?
wild, man.
They've been too wild.
Wild
They've
buffalo.
been
Out in the wild.
They've been running free, causing a muck, causing havoc.
Causing a ruckus.
Darn
So
tootin'.
Deputy Raymond's been chasing him night and day on horseback, riding all through the bayous, catching them naughty buffaloes.
Right.
So, thanks everyone for joining us this week. Do you know what? You just reminded me of something.
What's going on, man?
I heard recently, did you know that buffalo can run surprisingly fast?
Oh, my.
I can't remember the exact, I might have to quickly look this up. It just made
The
me think of it.
speed of the buffalo.
Let's have a look quickly.
I can attest to
The
that.
speed of a buffalo.
Can
How
it
fast?
outrun the water vole? That's my question.
Well,
Man,
as we all-
they can. They
as-
can.
they
They're so
can.
much bigger. If they were the size of a water vole, they would not outrun the water vole. I can tell you that.
Right.
But seeing as they are a larger creature,
Got bigger legs.
Yeah, they go, man. They go.
35 miles per hour.
They go.
That's
my.
super fast for an animal that's essentially a tank on legs.
Yeah, man. They heavy beasts.
That's you wouldn't want one of them plowing into your 4x4.
Plowing you in any way.
Into your sports utility vehicle.
No, man. That
hit
would
by a
not.
truck.
It'd not be a vehicle anymore.
Be lights out.
It'd be a pile of trash.
Be lights out. Have you ever seen those videos of those foolish tourists in Yellowstone Park?
Provoking the water buffalo.
Well, they're not. That's not provoking they're not that
Driving past them.
Water buffalo are in I believe are in Africa.
Oh yeah.
All right.
You got water buffalo. We're talking about the buffalo in America,
Buffalo soldier.
in the United States of America, God's country.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
But have you ever seen those videos, those silly tourists? And it's like they think that these things are like little cuddly like toys or something, or like
They
something.
won't go stroke the buffalo.
Well, they're tourists. They're typical tourists. They try and take pictures with the buffalo. But
Flame with fire.
Like, buffalo are essentially bulls on steroids, right?
Yeah, man. They muscly creatures.
Which is like almost like a double steroidal event anyway, because a bull is essentially a cow on steroids. Mm-hmm. And then if a buffalo's like a bull on steroids,
Damn.
then it's like 10 times the steroids
The strength.
And the bull.
of a cow, which is a scary creature, you know? But it's like
They don't seem as docile as cows as
no,
well.
they're
a bit
super
more like-
angry, and also they're notoriously dumb, and I mean that with the greatest respect.
okay.
But they're essentially just food processing factories. They haven't got very developed brains, and because they live in an area that's cohabitated by wolves and bears, they have to be good at defending themselves. But where they don't have very big brains, they have very simple mechanisms. If they feel like something is encroaching on this territory and they feel like it could be potentially a threat, they're going to hit first and not ask questions later. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you.
So is this hooked up to the old?
It is.
Certainly is, bro.
It is.
Well, I can get up some. I know because I've watched them for my own amusement in the past. Some really hilarious videos of I say hilarious. I mean, obviously, I don't want anybody to get damaged, even if they are foolish enough to encroach upon a buffalo's territory.
Don't try it at home.
But let's face it, you probably had it coming. You know what I mean? Don't go near
Don't
it.
touch the buffalo.
Don't go near an angry, roided up animal that's the size of an SUV with freaking horns on its head.
And expect to keep your head on your shoulders.
It's a wild animal, isn't it? It's a
man,
wild animal.
You're messing with nature there, bro.
Let's have a look.
Outrageous.
Yellowstone.
While you're getting that up, did any of you see the video that went viral over the past couple of weeks?
What's that?
Which
There
one, man?
was a woman who decided she was going to walk all the way to the top of an Aztec temple.
Oh,
And
very disrespectful.
People were not happy. People were not
Oh, damn,
happy.
you're not allowed to ride those temples?
No, you're not allowed to go up them because it's like secret, holy, historical
Sacred,
sites.
holy, historical land.
And it's a bit like you're not allowed to climb the pyramids of Egypt, are you?
No,
Same thing.
no. People do that.
They do it, but it's a bit naughty. But this lady did it brazen in the middle of the day, and was almost
Just walked
like
up there.
was almost like taunting people. You know, almost like taunting.
What
Oh,
happened
so
to
you
this
have
lady?
seen the video?
I seen it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but what happened to her, man? People just get angry.
Did she get
and-
arrested or something? I saw at the
I
bottom.
don't know
People
the
were not
consequences
happy.
of her
Oh,
actions.
it was just
Yeah.
like, one of those things. People just weren't happy about it. She didn't get like shot or like
No.
or chased off the temple.
I saw she got some water poured
Oh.
over her head.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
at least she got some kind of repercussion
yeah,
from that.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you gotta. The thing is, that's the least of her problems. She might now potentially be haunted for the rest of her days by the spirits of some Aztec warriors, and if that is the case,
Serves you
then,
right, lady.
then God rest her soul. And
Yeah.
you should probably have never have ridden those Aztec temples, those Mayan temples. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, let me get up. So just like, for anybody that's sensitive, I mean, I'm sure, let's face it, you can't watch this on the radio anyway. So if you're watching us on the YouTubes or on the Spotifys, you probably are familiar with the territory.
Tonight,
So you're probably
the
not so
terrifying
sensitive,
moment, a
but
bison charges a group of tourists,
look at this bison.
grabbing a child
Oh my
and
God.
shoving him out of the way as the animal attacks. and
Oh my
gores.
God.
Damn.
So we're watching this bison, this stupid family had gotten just too close to this animal. It's super angry.
Try and take him out.
That is a big animal, man.
Oh, watch this. This man's
Damn.
about to get launched in the air. Also, stupid people, man.
Oh, damn.
The thing is, right, this stupid family, they got a little kid with them. What are you doing putting
Safety
your kid,
first, man. Safety first.
putting your kid in that situation? Are you dumb?
That are capable of high speed, so they deserve respect.
Yeah, the buffalo deserves respect, people.
Respect the buffalo.
Respect the buffalo.
And there's
Get
loads of
launched in the air.
there's loads of other videos of people getting attacked by buffaloes. It's just stupid tourist stuff, I mean, what are you doing? You gotta relax around. Give the buffalo their space. That's right. That's right. Give the buffalo their space. I said I could go down a rabbit hole watching different bison attack videos, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to resist the urge to do that. Talking about crazy, massive animals, what do you guys think of the Komodo dragon?
Oh my
what
God.
an animal, man.
I saw a crazy video just yesterday. I almost tagged you in it, man.
Oh, you
and it
should've.
was of a Komodo dragon that was eating the ears off a cow.
Oh, my Lord.
It just like this cow was just lying down in it on the edge of a river.
What, was it dead or alive?
It was alive still, but I don't know why it didn't get up and move.
Oh, I think it
But
was
this
incapacitated.
It must have been incapacitated, and this Komodo dragon was just taking chunks off the top of its head and off its ears. Had no ears left, just being eaten alive by a Komodo dragon.
Do you know what I reckon happened to that cow? I can tell you, I'll give you an insight into the predatory instincts of the Komodo dragon right now. This
Probably
is how.
went for somewhere down low first.
Oh, right, that's right. So this is how Komodos...
Go for the ass.
This is how... Yep, always ass first, folks. This is how Komodos attack their prey, okay? They go in, unsuspecting, from behind. They give a little nip at the heels, a little nip at the leg, a little nip at the behind, right? And then what they do is then they're patient animals. They're cold-blooded killers, right? So not only will obviously the bite naturally, obviously, as time progresses, and when I say time, I mean like an hour or two, will it make the animal weak and sluggish. But what scientists used to think is that the Komodo dragons had such dirty mouths that there was like poison. There was so much bacteria in their mouths.
It made fester.
That it would basically cause infection inside the animal. But now, what scientists are coming to understand, and I don't know why this was harder to figure out sooner, but they're now actually realizing that Komodo dragons actually do have a naturally toxic bite as well. So when I say that, the same way that like a venomous snake or a poisonous spider, if it bites you, obviously it can
some of that lace saliva.
That's right. That's right. It can, so it can inject a nasty. I don't know what the correct terminology. I assume it's more likely some sort of venom.
Dragon breath.
It can inject dragon breath inside of you, right? And then within about an hour, the cow will be, as you stated.
Ah, see.
It'll be, be on the floor.
Sluggish and
then the thing is about reptiles, reptilians. They're quite, they're naturally cold-blooded creatures, and there's something quite scary about that, I think, because there's almost like this emotionlessness aspect to them. But then they will go up to the prey, and they will just start eating you alive.
Yeah, man, I did not like it.
That's brutal, man.
I did not like it at all. I was like, I got to keep scrolling. I stopped there for a little bit. But I was like, man, I got to keep scrolling. This cow looked so defeated. He just put his head down. And it was almost like, I see it with my dog. I see my dog like put his head down and get comfortable and just like that. The cow did that after it bit his ear off. And I thought, man, that's one sad cow.
Nature is brutal.
Damn, bad day for the cow.
It's like the cow just had to accept its fate. It was like, what am I going to do?
It looked like it's fully accepted and it was trying to get a bit more comfortable.
I mean, in a way, I respect the poise of the cow, the majestic cow.
Yeah, it wasn't going crazy or nothing. Just kind of like accepting its fate.
It's sort of like, what a dignified animal. To be being eaten alive like that and to still maintain your dignity in that fashion, that's a lot.
I definitely would not maintain my dignity.
It's hard to be eaten by a Komodo dragon and maintain your dignity.
Haven't they got one of the strongest bites in the world?
I'm not sure about that.
Jaguars are up there.
The strongest bite force of any living animal is the crocodile.
They got like a lock and key thing, right?
They got crazy insane bite force. Way stronger than a lion or a jaguar or a shark or any type of shark. They got strongest bite force alive. In fact, in a minute, I'll tell you what, I'm going to type in top 10 strongest bite forces of any animal alive today.
I think Jaguar's going to be up there, ain't it?
Jaguar's got the strongest bite force of any cat. I know that.
Ah, that's it.
And I'll tell you what's interesting about the jaguar compared to any other kitty is that most predatory cats, and this involves the nice little domestic kitty, they will usually go for the neck when they kill an animal.
Damn straight.
If you see a video, like a lion or a tiger.
I saw another one of a jaguar the other day, and it went for a because they can hold their breath for quite a long time under the water as well, man.
Oh, they'll swim.
So this one went in for a crocodilian.
Oh, they go for a crocodilian.
Or I think it was a crocodilian.
It was a crocodilian.
Yeah, straight in the river. Must have been in the Amazon forest.
Southern America.
Straight in there. I thought, where is this jaguar gone? And about 10, 15 seconds later, just popped up with a crocodilio in his mouth.
Do you know what?
Oh my God.
And I was like, damn.
Had lunch.
Had it by the neck.
It's hard to...
Back of the head, actually.
Yeah, that's that they do. That's they're the only
Crush
cat.
the back of the neck.
They have the strongest bite force pound for pound and just straight out, just flat out, also of any cat alive. And they're differentiated by their other cat cousins by they don't go for the neck. Like I said, most cats will suffocate and puncture the neck, essentially like choking you to death. Like if you strangle someone, they do that but with their mouths. What jaguars do is they crush the animal's skull with their teeth. Damn. They will go down. So if they were going to attack me, it would bite around my head here, my cranium, and it would just crush
Damn.
Like having an egg in your hand and just crushing it.
Popping that egg.
Popping that egg. And your brain would be like the yolk, just smooshing out through
damn.
your fingers.
That's brutal.
Absolutely brutal. So yeah, I'm going to type in top 5 hardest bites alive of any animal alive. I think of all the animals that have ever lived in history, I think the one with the strongest bite force that we know of, I think, this off the top of my head, I think might be the megalodon.
Oh,
You know, the largest shark that ever.
What about a hippo, man?
They got a strong bite force.
Good one. Good one.
But
That's
I
a
think
good one.
the strongest bite force we know of any terrestrial animal ever, land animal, I think might have been the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Oh, okay.
That don't surprise me.
But I wanted to, before we get into that, because that's an awesome thing to look into, an awesome thing to type in and find out and discuss with all of our beautiful people out there in Pandora's box land. Did you know that there used to be an even bigger version of the Komodo dragon?
Oh, no, I did not.
Oh my.
So, ladies, the Komodo dragon obviously is a reptile, but more specifically, it's a lizard. And I think sometimes people get a little bit confused because you're like, what's the difference between a reptile, a lizard, etc.? Well, obviously, like a crocodile is a reptile. Any type of lizard is a reptile. The dinosaurs were reptiles, but they've obviously all got their own little groups, familial groups, you know? So lizards...
Raptors.
Yeah. So, water voles. So obviously lizards, you think of things like chameleons, lizards, monitor lizards. But so the Komodo dragon is the largest.
Gecko.
Is the gecko, exactly. The Komodo dragon is the largest lizard alive today. And I think on average they get about 7 feet long. But super large individuals get to about 10 feet. And that's a scary animal. That's an animal you wouldn't want to be locked in a room with. Because
People have them as pets as well, don't they?
What?
I swear,
I think
Komodo
some
dragons.
No.
Do you mean bearded
No?
dragons?
I think
bearded dragons. That's
Probably
what I'm
bearded
thinking of.
dragons.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking
they have
of.
bearded dragons. And I think some people might even have some monitor lizards, which are massive, but, not the size of the Komodo. But I think it would be too dangerous to have a Komodo.
Yeah, you can't train those.
Yeah, man.
Komodo
You
They got
dragons.
big tongues.
Even if you wouldn't be able to have one out of a cage.
No.
And if you had to have one in a cage, well, you might
I
as
just
well
wondered, like
let
some
that
people can
son free.
kind of train tigers and stuff, and they have kitty friends.
Yeah.
I don't know whether, but like you're saying about the cold-bloodedness of a reptile,
Exactly.
I don't know whether they would like show affection like a kitty
No,
would.
I don't think they
you know?
would. I don't. I mean,
You
I'd be.
couldn't ride that Komodo dragon round, man.
No, I'd be super skeptical of that. But the Komodo dragon has an ancestor which was basically like the Komodo dragon but twice the size, and it's called Megalania.
Megalania.
That sounds cool.
That gives me some Megalania, man.
Megalania gives me some hypomania. So let's type in Megalania into the old search box. Megalania. Let's find out a couple things. I think they used to get like absolutely insanely large. Right,
Damn.
so you'll see there I've got a little picture on it's prehistoric wildlife. This is the rough estimate of a Varanus priscus, better known in the English language as the Megalania, compared to a 1.8 meter tall person. So that's a fairly tall person.
That's me.
That's basically Bullwinkle.
That's me.
I mean Stretch McCoy.
Stretch McCoy.
That's basically Stretch McCoy. So you can see this is a mighty mentally sized animal. We've got some other
Which
size.
one's which?
I guess the one at the bottom must be the Megalania because it's the biggest one.
All right.
And
maybe
what does
that's
that
just
say?
them
It said
growing
that,
up.
It said that they thought that.
If any of you guys are
Man,
listening to the
1,000
pod now but
kilograms.
not seeing it, get your butts on Spotify or YouTube because it's video and you'll see exactly what we're saying here.
That's right. You listen to Deputy Raymond Jr. before he apprehends you
Get
in the
your
name of the law.
butts
He
to
will arrest you.
Spotify or YouTube.
And that's a recent thing, we've and it's all thanks to Deputy Raymond Jr. We now have the videos on the Spotify. So yeah, you can watch us, our visages, taking our
and
visages.
see these dragons in action.
Yeah,
So
man.
what I have up right now, which looks pretty impressive, is is
damn.
the skeleton of a Megalania. So this must be in some natural history museum somewhere. You can see it's a mighty fine, vicious-looking animal. This is an animal you wouldn't want to tangle with, people. And here we've got, it says Australia's giant venomous lizard. It actually says it gets downsized, but I'm sure it was already massive. But you can see it there. It's chasing some sort of bird. I said this was a scary animal, people.
Damn, it looks scary there.
It's a scary animal, and it would have definitely tried to eat you. Oh, there's some sort of dinosaur park somewhere where they've done a recreation of it. It looks very
Eat
scary.
your whole.
Because the thing is, as well, like, I think the whole thing with crocodiles is, even though crocodiles are massive, like get, over 20 feet in some extreme cases, obviously they're primarily aquatic animals. Mm-hmm. They do like to come and bask on the land, but they're not super fast. So as long as you stay away from the water hole, as long as you stay away from the bio,
it ain't gonna get you.
Yeah, that's right. Stay away from the lakes and the rivers of Australia and such, and Africa. You're going to probably be okay. But I think, these things look like they could maybe run a bit faster. And it's a bit sketchy. They seem a little bit more scary. Look, this is another recreation. Like, we got some gentlemen that have obviously recreated a model of the megalania we see here. And this is a giant animal, folks. It's a scary animal. Obviously, I like to talk about, every now and again on the pod here, we like to talk about crazy animals of the past.
Oh, man.
Animals that aren't around anymore, but animals that would have been awe-inspiring to see in the flesh.
Talking about that, did you see recently the dinosaur that is like 110 million years old that was mummified and
is that an ankylosaur?
I don't know, but it's it's an armored plant-eating dinosaur.
Oh, you're on about the ankylosaur. Ankylosaur.
Nodosaur.
Yeah, I've never heard of a nodosaur. I've heard of an ankylosaur.
Nodosaur, and it's the best preserved specimen of its kind. Put mummified dinosaur. It looks crazy, man, because it's 100 million years old. But you can still see the face of that dinosaur. Like man, it's like the most well preserved mummified dinosaur ever found.
I'm probably guessing. I don't know if it says this in the article that you've read. Does it say that it was probably was left to fossilize in like a muddy bank or something?
So it somehow got to the bottom of the ocean,
right?
And the ocean, like the minerals and the sediments, kept it like mummified and fresh for like millions of years.
I know that if you know, and I think everybody knows what I'm on about when I describe this. There's that sort of like sludgy mud. Yeah. It's like that thick, it's like clay. It's like that thick clayish like sludge which you sometimes get at the bottom of certain rivers and lakes and certain seabeds.
Perfect preservation material.
It's the best one going. There's something about that once something's in that, it's almost like being stored in a freaking refrigerator. So obviously, even though it's been 100 million years, which is hard for our feeble little ape minds to comprehend, to say a lot can happen in 100 million years is a severe understatement. But to imagine that there's still somehow organic material which hasn't biodegraded fully in 100 million years is kind of mind-boggling. But if it's in the right sediment, it is theoretically.
Look at that bad boy, man. Can you see that?
Yeah, see, I know. Yeah, see, I thought that wasn't. Do you know what?
That's crazy.
That is a type of ankylosaur, but I think the name you were given is more specific.
Nodosaur.
So it's like what I was saying essentially is like it would be like if Drewster, Deputy Raymond over here had found like a chimpanzee, and I said I think it's a great ape. That's what So it's a type of ankylosaur.
Oh, cool, man.
But you were more specific. Can you give me the name? The name again? Sorry, N-O-D.
Nodosaur. N-O-D-A.
Yep.
S-A-U-R.
A-U.
Nodosaur.
Nodosaur. The dinosaur mummy found with its skin and its guts intact. So
that's crazy, man.
That is cool.
Oh, it's N-O-D-O. Sorry.
That's all right. I found it. Don't worry. Yeah. So I'm sure it's a type of ankylosaur because you think about it. Those ankylosaurs, they all look fairly similar. They've got their differences, but the most famous one is that one that had that massive club tail. Can you think of which one I'm on about? It had like a massive club for a tail. This one doesn't seem to have a club for a tail, but you can still see it's that same type of quadruped, armored, plant-eating dinosaur. This is an amazing specimen, absolutely amazing specimen we got here.
I can't believe it, man. I can't believe what it looks like.
So
it's like a step back into the past.
Yeah, if you are just listening on the radio, folks, get yourselves on YouTube, get yourselves on Spotify, type in Pandora's Box Podcast, and you can have a look at some of these pictures we're looking at. It's like, it doesn't even look real. So the fact that it is real is absolutely mind-boggling, So
that one of the head looks so cool.
Oh, man, I know. So this is it's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy that this is a real animal.
Yeah, man, just back in the past. I find it so sad that I'll never actually see that time, you know, never
What,
actually
the dinosaur
experience
time?
it. Yeah,
You'd
man.
like to experience the time of the dinosaurs?
I would like to go. That's why I like all this like ayahuasca and stuff, because I think you could actually go back in time and experience some of that stuff on the
You
trip.
reckon that using the power of the mind and through the
Ancestral medicines of the past.
you reckon that you could potentially time travel and put your mind
I
back
think
into
so.
the time
I
of
think
the
so. I mean,
ankylosaur?
Graham Hancock talked about, you know, one of the ideas of his book. He said on a trip he went back and saw the what are they called, the before humans, what Neanderthals, yeah, and he had this vision of them having red hair.
Right.
And then
That's
in all
probably-
these
that
visions,
could be likely.
And then it came out about a year after that
They did have red hair.
They had red hair.
Well, the reason I said that I think that could be likely is because I know that Neanderthals were primarily a European species of hominid. And the same way that obviously Europeans are where white folks, Caucasians, come from, like yours truly. And basically the way that the white man evolved, the Caucasian, was obviously, as most people know, or as we know, as far as we know, all humans started off from Africa, and obviously originally would have been black. Mm-hmm. Now, what happened is as people stretched across the geographic map, went into colder climates, such as modern-day Europe.
Melanin.
Lost that melanin.
Exactly. There wasn't as much sunlight, and it basically started off as a genetic mutation from lack of sunlight. Now, what do we know that sunlight gives us? Things like vitamin D. So we basically had a severe vitamin D deficiency, and then suddenly
Most people
one
still
day,
have that.
So one day you would have had, what would look like an African couple would have had a child, and it would have been white. Mm-hmm. Right?
Albino.
But obviously we know that the Neanderthals was, as I said, a European-based hominid. So they would have had that evolved trait, that they would have evolved to have been white. And what goes hand in hand, the same way that white skin is from like lack of sunlight and stuff like that, so is red hair.
Oh, okay,
I guess,
man. Okay. I
people
love
with-
the old red hair.
Oh, that's it. Redheaded people and people, redheaded people with freckles and that, they are almost like the most, I guess, severe example of whiteness, I guess you could say. Do you know what I mean? They are the whitest of the white. Because, you got guys that are white, but they got dark brown eyes
I always
and dark brown
find,
hair.
and like freckles are really interesting. I'm going to get a load of freckles from that as well. If you got the old red hair and white skin, you get crazy freckles. I got loads of freckles on my arms,
freckles, man.
Yeah.
So's
just
my
happens.
mama. So's my grandmother.
I ain't got too
freckles
many.
Family. Man. It's So it's just from lack of sunlight, isn't it?
But I thought that was crazy that so with that you can
Makes
kind
sense.
of go back in time somehow in the visions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'd like to do that, man. Go back to dinosaur time.
Go see
you
the
just
Novasaur.
you just reminded me of something as well. I'm gonna quickly. I know I saved something on my phone the other day, and it was going on about Homo species, and it's almost like a breakthrough. And this is breaking news, people. This is breaking news.
Homo erectus is
Breaking
such an
news.
ironic name.
So Homo erectus, I know it is, surely. It certainly is. So obviously Homo erectus got its name because it was the first hominid that stood upright. So erectus obviously means upright, which obviously also is where something else gets its name from. But there was, but to get scientific on your butts, obviously, as Graham Hancock always likes to say, everything seems to get older or whatever.
Just keeps
Just
getting
keeps
older.
getting older.
getting older.
And this goes hand in hand with that. So listen to this, folks, right? Homo naledi. And I have to say, this is a Homo genus that I don't think I've ever heard of before. If I have, it slipped through my mind like a train in the night. But it says, Homo naledi may have lit fires in underground caves at least 236,000 years ago. Now, this puts back, we didn't think that there were hominid species that could control and manipulate fire like that until much later on. And then it goes on to say, an ancient southern African hominid called Homo naledi, represented here by a child's partial fossil skull, there's a picture of it here, used fire sometimes between 335,000 and 236,000 years ago. New cave finds suggest. Blah, blah, blah. An ancient hominid dubbed blah, blah, blah may have lit controlled fires in the pitch dark chambers of an underground cave system. New discoveries Researchers found remnants of small fireplaces and sooty wall and ceiling smudges in passages and chambers throughout South Africa's Rising Star Cave Complex. Paleoanthropologist Lee Berger announced on December the 1st, announced on December the 1st, hosted by the Carnegie Institution of Science in Washington, D.C. He said, and I quote, "Signs of fire use are everywhere in this cave system," said Berger, of the University of Witwatersrand, Johannesburg.
And I guess they can carbon date that actual soot from the fire.
Well, of course.
Damn, man.
And they would have been there next to the remnants of the species itself, which obviously they can very accurately date, using, breaking through the bone parts and that.
Woohoo!
H. Naledi presumably lit the blazes in the caves since remains of no other hominids have turned up there, the team says. But the researchers have yet to date the age of the fire remains. And researchers outside Berger's group have yet to evaluate the new finds. So what we do know is that these prehistoric fires are right alongside the bones of these ancient hominids.
Ooh, darn dude, man.
So right now, the evidence points to them being made of that. Now, we need to do more conclusive evidence to know for sure, but all signs point to the fact that this hominid was lighting fires between 335,000 and 236,000 years ago.
It's a long time, man. Shows how much we do not know about the history of our own planet.
To put it into perspective, it was only around the time that, the 236,000 years ago, that Homo sapiens were even evolving for the first time. So these earlier types of hominids, it seems like, we don't know 100% conclusively, but, it seems like all the evidence is pointing. We're using fire before our species was even evolved yet, which is a mighty insane. The thing is, this is what's fascinating about anthropology, the history of humankind and all the, the hominids, all the other hominids, is there's so much we don't know.
Yeah,
there's
man.
so much that we don't know.
I love it. That's why I've been loving this series, Ancient Apocalypse, by the man himself, Graham Hancock, man. Pointed at some of these archaeological sites and finds and how far they go back,
I know, man.
A lost civilization from the last ice age. I mean, come on. That's so interesting, man.
But, the thing that's amazing about it, though, is even if you take the most boring scenario was, in fact, the true scenario, right? It would have still been amazing. Because imagine a time, right? For example, there was another hominid species called Homo florensis, right? And we dubbed them, anthropologists dubbed them as a nice little nickname. They're like the hobbits. They call them the hobbits. They were like little 3-4 foot tall little humans.
So cool, man, that they're even about.
They were little upright walking little humans. They were 3-4 foot tall.
Little
All
pygmy.
of them. Little pygmy creatures.
Little pygmy people.
Pygmy man. Pygmy man. And then, you have Neanderthal, which were like these tank-like, apparently very muscular, very strong.
And I remember reading something about the Neanderthal and about their dealings with pain was completely different to ours. So they would break their fingers, break their toes
and they didn't care.
Feet, and they just get on with things.
Well, apparently their rib cage was so thick and their bones were so much denser than ours that they were saying a Neanderthal could get hit head on by a car going 40 miles an hour, and it would most likely just get up and walk away.
Damn,
like
man.
that thing you were talking about the other week, where people nowadays
With the
are having this mutation. Yeah,
maybe that's
Maybe
something
it's
left
a part
over from our
we've
Neanderthal
all got
DNA.
Yeah, we've all got a bit of that, haven't we,
Well, we
man?
also know that people in Europe do have, I can't remember the exact percentage, but I think it's something like between 1% and 4% Neanderthal DNA, whereas people in Africa and people in Asia don't tend to have that. Obviously, because
They
of the
still
fact
have
that,
a little bit, or?
No, I don't think they do, because I think
okay.
because the Neanderthal obviously was a European type of hominid. What happened was
Didn't get that far.
Well, what happened when there was obviously a time where Neanderthals and Homo sapiens were cohabiting in Europe.
They were loving each other.
So sometimes, as is the case, you see with just there are some such horny devils, they would just have sex with anything, right? And there would have obviously been,
especially if it's another hominid.
there would have either been a female human, Homo sapien, that was so impressed by the strength and the brutality and masculine attributes of a Neanderthal that maybe she just wanted some of that Neanderthal action. Her partner, her Homo sapien partner, just wasn't giving her the good loving, and she just wanted that extra oomph, under the extra vitality.
Raw masculine power.
That raw masculine. She wanted to get hit by 40 miles an hour and get up and walk away, and she wanted her child to have some of that in it. And so we know, and And conversely, I'm sure there would have been some horny young teenage Homo sapien that had been wandering through the forests of Europe, seen some young Neanderthal girl. I mean, she might have looked a little bit more masculine than
Robust.
he was used to from the Homo sapien ladies, but he thought, in for a penny, in for a pound. And did the dirty.
Went in for a pound.
We did the dirty down in the forest. Yeah, that's it. In for a penny, in for the pound. That's pound. So did the dirty there in the forest. Walked away, lived his life. Little did he know he just impregnated that Neanderthal lady.
Just changed the future.
Just set the course of human history on a new direction.
Exactly. Now, obviously, we know that Neanderthals eventually died out. We don't know exactly the definite reasons. We just know that eventually they died out.
In Graham Hancock's book, Entangled, which is a great novel, and I recommend it. And it was actually this trip that he had on ayahuasca that gave him this story. And it was about a Neanderthal race who were getting basically hunted by humans.
Right.
He said in that they potentially had psychic powers. And
Neanderthals were psychic?
So rather than communicating so much with language, like we do, they would communicate more through psychic ability. And I thought that was a crazy concept. So like they were kind of they would join together and do healings and things like that, but by like connecting psychically as a community rather than.
So why wouldn't the Homo sapiens have liked that?
Well, apparently, like it was just like warring tribes, and they saw them as other. Believable. They saw them as other, and they saw them as a threat.
Well, I think, the same way that let's face it, humankind has fought amongst ourselves since the dawn of time.
Exactly, man. So I think that's just quite a human trait.
Yeah, I think, as we said, right?
I can imagine them killing off the Neanderthals, to be honest.
Yeah, humans have been fighting themselves since the dawn of time. We've been fighting ourselves, people. Whether it's your next door neighbor or whether it's a different country or whether it's, you've declared yourself.
We're all brothers and sisters at the end of the day.
We're all brothers and sisters at the end of the day. But you see, since the dawn of time, if someone declares himself king of the castle,
warring attitude, man.
Some other son of a gun will say, no, I should be king of the castle. The next thing you know, your followers.
And conquer.
Your followers are fighting their followers, and it's kill or be killed. Whoever survives the day is going to be king of the castle. So it's really not that much of a stretch to imagine that would have happened with our
whole race completely.
Exactly. Now, what's quite interesting to me is I wonder, because let's face it, they didn't have the science that we have today. So, do you think that the Homo sapiens of that day, I mean, let's face it, we know that Neanderthals looked a bit different to us. But, let's face it, there's a broad spectrum of physical characteristics amongst the humankind. You take a Samoan man and compare him to a Norwegian lady. Or you take a Chinese lady or a Chinese man, compare it to an African woman or lady. There's a broad spectrum of people, folks, right? Do you think that say you're in Europe during the time of where Neanderthals and Homo sapiens coexisted? Now, do you think a Homo sapien would have come across a Neanderthal and thought you're different from me? Or do you think they would have just thought of them as a different human tribe? I think that's an interesting question, don't you? Because, as I said, there's such a broad spectrum of physical characteristics. Where do you draw the line between looking like a very different type of human and being a different species altogether?
I just remembered that, was it in Neanderthal where there was that guy and you found it really...
That's one of the greatest videos in human history. I might play a little clip for you now, ladies and gentlemen. And
they were saying how a Neanderthal would sound compared to a man.
It's from a documentary series, a very good one. And I think it wasn't intentional, but this is one of the most hilarious clips known to man. And I'm going to get it up for you now. I know it's on YouTube because it's. I've shared it several times.
Because I was gonna say, if they didn't think they looked different enough, then I'm sure they sounded different enough. And apparently they didn't have the same kind of way that we would have speech, which is why Graham Hancock was saying about this more psychic communication, and he thinks they were actually a very clever species, more than given credit for, but they just communicated in a different way.
Yeah, so I'm going to play you something here.
We got no mic there. I think you might have...
I'm back. I'm back, folks. Sorry, a bit of technological difficulty there for a second, but I'm back now. I'm going to play you a little clip now. It doesn't go on for too long. Now, this is from a BBC documentary, so it's very informative. So we're going to learn a couple of little interesting things, surely, about Neanderthal now, but we're also going to see how hilarious this clip is, all right? This is, to give you a little bit of background, so this part of the show, there was a vocal expert, a lady, a doctor, a scientist who specializes in vocal cords in all animals, but she's also, in this case, obviously, done a full examination using the skeletons of Neanderthals and compared to the skeletons of Homo sapiens to recreate what she thinks the Neanderthal would have sounded like. So let's listen. Now, I'm just going to pause this for a second. Now, one thing I find very interesting is I think because we know that Neanderthals were more muscular and had denser bones, you might think they talked lower, but that seems to not be the case. Say they actually would have probably talked with higher. And I think you can think about some ape species as well. If you think about when a chimpanzee, which is more muscular than a human pound for pound, or a gorilla, like...
Makes a noise.
When they're angry and they're going out, it's actually quite high pitched. So humans would have most likely had deeper voices. But I just want to say that before we carry on. Wow.
1, 2, 3.
I felt like they were explaining some of my family members a second there when they were talking about
Strong
Neanderthals.
Neanderthal DNA you got there, man.
I wouldn't be surprised if I do. I've got quite a thick brow.
That didn't come up on my my DNA thing that I did
Neanderthal.
on the thing. But I can't imagine that they have Neanderthal on there on the.
No, of course not.
That'd be good if they did.
I think it would be very cool if they did have that. I'm sure there is some sort of test you can do somewhere.
You can go back and you can. I know. Was the one you did Ancestry DNA?
Ancestry,
yeah,
that's
so
right.
you can download your history. I remember Josh was telling me this in the past. He was saying Zeuswar the Gold was telling me he downloaded his stuff from Ancestry DNA and put it in another sort of
database.
DNA database. And he was finding out that he's got loads of stuff over from like Asia. From his
No
DNA
way.
and stuff like that.
Well, I don't believe it.
I'm going to see him
in
later,
thinking.
and I'm going to ask him about that because I'm going to do the same thing.
Yeah, so you might find out that you got loads of
How
Neanderthal.
on
Who
earth
knows?
does Zeuswar the Gold have Asian DNA? He doesn't even look remotely Asian. Remotely.
Yeah. He said apparently it comes up with like personality types and like stuff like that as well.
Personality
So
type,
cool,
good.
man.
I'm going to look at that.
Yeah,
Personality
apparently it
type,
described him
Krillin.
quite well.
Right, interesting. I mean, physically, obviously, he's pale naturally. He's got blue eyes, and he's got a sort of golden ringlety hair. So it's almost the antithesis of what you imagine as an Asian man. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, they notoriously have sort of jet black hair, don't they? Darker eye color in general. So yeah, I'm surprised to hear that. Interesting subject there, folks.
Yeah.
Should we find out now what the top 5 bite forces
I'm
are?
excited for this.
Top 5 strongest bite force alive. Top 5
Bite force alive.
Bite force alive. Strongest.
Here we go.
Strongest.
Strongest.
Bite force alive. Top 5 strongest bite force. All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go, folks. We got rounding out the top 8. We have the Bengal tiger with a bite force of 1,050 psi, right? In 7th spot, we have the spotted hyena with a bite force of 1,100
Spotted hyena.
psi.
Damn.
I'm not
Wow,
surprised
man.
that, because the thing is with
Laughing
hyenas,
all the way.
Oh,
they're scavengers as well as, and they will eat anything.
I think the Wolverine's going to be up there.
I don't think so much.
Oh, dang.
But only because they're
guess,
too
good
small.
guess.
Now,
Yeah.
pound for pound, they might have one of the strongest bite forces. But you got to bear in mind, this isn't pound for pound.
This is just
straight
straight
up.
up.
This is straight up.
I didn't think hyenas were that big, but they must get pretty big, man.
Oh man, they're pretty big. I think
if it's bigger than the Bengal tiger in bite force, that's
well,
crazy.
the thing is, obviously, whenever you see usually a picture or a video of a hyena, it's next to whatever else is living in
Yeah.
Africa. And let's face it,
all
African
quite
animals
big.
are the biggest on the planet. You got
megafauna.
You got the elephant, you got the rhino, you got the hippo, you got the majestic lion, you got the giraffe, you got, all these creatures are massive.
Pretty huge, man.
So I'm sure that I expect a hyena is about the same size as a wolf, but
Whoa,
with a
man,
but with a stronger bite. With a stronger bite. So they're basically like really nasty, evil.
I wonder if a
wolves.
hyena and a wolf could mate.
I don't think they could.
Damn.
I don't think they could. Only
try it.
because I don't think they're that closely related.
Oh, okay.
Although they are both obviously well,
quite dog-like.
Wolves are obviously canine because all dogs we have today, every single species of dog on the planet has evolved in some way from
a wolf,
which is crazy when you see like a little Pomeranian or a little Chihuahua or something like that, and think it came from a great gray wolf or something. But hyena is obviously a separate family tree. So we had in 7th place the spotted hyena, and in 6th place we got the polar bear. 1,200 PSI.
Damn, cool animal. That's a cool photo on the right as well.
It's a very cool photo.
I also saw a thing of a polar bear eating a seal the other day.
Oh, brutal.
Pretty savage, man.
Brutal. I think where they're so white and they're in the snow, the blood is just so, the contrast really shows that makes it more brutal. In 5th place, we got the mighty mountain gorilla with a bite force of 1,300 PSI.
Whew. Is that like silverback?
A silverback gorilla, yeah, that's right. The largest gorilla on the planet. In 4th place, we got jaguar with a bite force of 15,
I knew it was up there, man.
1,500 PSI.
Damn. Crush those crocodilio skulls, man.
We've also got the hippopotamus with a bite force of 1,800 PSI.
Seen those videos of them eating the watermelon?
Yeah,
it's
they
like
pop
one of the most
them like
satisfying
cherries, man.
You're feeding them and they just
pop them like cherries, man.
We got great white shark bite force, 4,000 PSI. Wait a minute, this is a bit weird though, right? Because it's saying number 1 crocodile bite force, but it's saying 3,700 PSI, which is 300 less than the great white shark, but it has it in number 1 spot. So let me just dive into this a little bit. I was sure that the crocodile had the highest bite force of any animal alive. So let me just delve into this a little bit more a second, folks. Saltwater crocodile, it says, number 1. Dr. Gregory Erickson, professor of anatomy and paleobiology at Florida State University and the curator of the school's Biological Science Museum, conducted a 10-year study to scientifically measure jaw strength in all 23 crocodilian species. Erickson and his team placed a specially designed bite force transducer, which he likens to an expensive bathroom scale, wrapped in protective layers of bullhide, between the jaws of multiple crocodile species. The highest reading was 3,700 PSI, was registered by a 17-foot saltwater crocodile. It's the strongest bite force ever recorded, Erickson said, beating a 29,800 PSI value for a 13-foot wild American alligator. So now let's look at the great white shark and see why. Why is this one in second place? So here we have a picture for anyone who isn't watching.
That's a cool photo.
The picture of a great white shark. He's breaching the water. He's got a poor little seal in his mouth. Good night, Mr. Seal. Rest in peace, sir. And let's see. Why is this one in second place if the PSI is higher? We'll get into that one in a sec. But first, in 2008, a team of Australian scientists led by Steve Rowe used sophisticated computer modeling based on multiple X-ray images of shark skulls to estimate that a 21-foot great white shark can produce nearly 4,000 PSI of bite force. Because shark bite force is highly dependent on size, the much more common 11 to 15-foot great whites would pack considerably less punch than a similarly sized crocodile, which therefore belongs in the number 1 slot. Also, Rowe's projections, unlike Erickson's findings, who was the guy that did the crocodilian tests, have not been directly measured in field tests. And then it says, joking around, volunteers, anyone.
Damn.
So basically, they estimate that a 21-foot great white could have a PSI of 4,000.
Yeah. Kind of a hard thing to test, isn't it?
And also, we know that crocodilians can get 21 feet, but the one that was read scientifically and accurately measured was 17 foot. So, I mean, obviously a 21-foot crocodilian will have a higher bite force than this 17-foot salty. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. So, okay. So, accurately measured, we have the saltwater crocodile number 1. But theoretically, a large great white shark could maybe give him a run for his money. But yet again, as I said, that wasn't even a 21-foot salty. So it looks like the salty has the number 1 spot.
Whew. Damn.
Anyway, folks, listen to some music now. When we come back, we're gonna do our Mystery of the Week, Mystery Mondays.
Yeah.
It's Deputy Raymond Jr.'s turn this week. I just want to give you guys a little warning. I'll give you another warning when we come back. But apparently this week's mystery, and I'm very intrigued, is particularly brutal and gruesome. So for any sensitive listeners out there, I just want to give y'all the chance to tune out And hopefully you can join us again next week on Pandora's Box. I said, if for those out there that are sensitive to things like violence, graphic descriptions of violence, if you're not, then stick around and listen to the mystery with us, folks. We're going to listen to a couple tracks now, but we'll be right back. Enjoy. Thanks for being here with us this evening, everybody.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Praise the Lord.
Pandora's box is about to open wide.
Welcome back, Wait, am I even on the radio?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you on
can
there,
hear
man.
me?
You're
Sorry,
on
here.
I was just checking because of the previously aforementioned technical difficulties we were having with my microphone.
Resurface for a second.
Yeah, exactly. Just need to do a little technical check. But welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to Pandora's Box Redneck Edition.
Hallelujah.
Yours truly, Cletus Jackson. Here we are. Over here we got the youngest boy, or my second cousin Dahlia. His name is
Dahlia.
Stretch McCoy. And to the left of me we have, let's all give him a thanks and a round of applause for taking time off from his duties. We have Deputy Raymond Jr. keeping America safe, people.
Hallelujah.
Keeping America safe, constantly on the heel of those pesky buffalo. And also, keeping the bio safe for all of those young travelers of the night. But it's time for Mystery Mondays, everybody.
It is time for some mystery on Monday.
Mystery
Let's get mysterious.
Mondays. So as I said before, we took a couple of song breaks there. This one's particularly graphic, apparently. So we just want to put that little.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna hold up some pictures during this. So if you get a little bit bit of sickly, if you see some violence or some stuff like that.
If you're particularly sensitive to violence,
it's a very sad story, man. And one I think you probably heard of. I'd actually heard of it, but I didn't know much about it.
Right.
And it's one of those really like savage murders that happened in the past.
Damn.
You heard of Black Dahlia?
Of course, I've heard of Black Dahlia.
Yeah, man.
I think I'm in your kind of boat. I heard of it.
Yeah,
but
I'd heard
really
of
know
it,
about it.
but I just wanted to go a little bit deeper with it because
It is gruesome murder.
It is gruesome murder, isn't it, man?
Yeah.
So this week we're talking about the Black Dahlia.
Damn.
Right. This
Trigger
is the
warning
mystery of the Black Dahlia.
Santa Barbara. Black Dahlia, Santa Barbara. And I also wondered where the name come from, Black Dahlia.
Flower.
Yeah, but it's apparently because of her jet black hair.
Right, so she was called the Black Dahlia because it was
she used to wear black a lot, and she had jet black hair. You can see the lady right here.
Right.
She's called Elizabeth Short, and we're going to get into her story.
E. Short.
So yeah.
I'm pretty sure, though, that a dahlia is a type of flower.
Oh, that's
Sorry,
cool.
I just want to quickly look that up now before dahlia. The dahlia is a plant.
Oh, nice, man.
Cool looking plant.
Yeah, what do dahlia symbolize? Today, dahlia flowers symbolize beauty, commitment, and kindness. They're also tied to steadfastness due to their ability to bloom after many other flowers have died.
Nice.
Oh, that's quite nice.
So she was called the Black. Yes, I don't know exactly why she was named after this flower. It's just interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, jet black hair, and she used to wear black quite a lot, apparently. So we'll get into it now. On January 15th, 1947, 22-year-old aspiring actress Elizabeth Short was found brutally murdered in Los Angeles, with her body cut in half and a ghastly smile carved into her face.
Damn.
The 1947 murder of Elizabeth Short, also known as the Black Dahlia, is one of the oldest cold cases in Los Angeles. Not only was it a horrific crime, but it was also proven notoriously difficult to solve. And that is her.
Elizabeth Short.
Elizabeth Short.
God rest her soul.
God rest her soul.
Though we may never know who killed the Black Dahlia, poring over the evidence of this case is just as darkly fascinating today as it was in 1947. So Elizabeth Short, in 1947, January 15th, Elizabeth Short's dead body was found in the Los Angeles neighborhood of Leimert Park. Right. The first person who reported the grisly sight was a mother out for a morning walk with her child.
Right.
That's a bit savage, isn't it? Just going out for a little walk in the park.
You wouldn't want your child to see that.
According to the woman, the way Short's body had been posed made her think that the corpse was a mannequin at first. But a closer look revealed the true horror of the Black Dahlia's crime scene. The 22-year-old Short had been sliced in two at the waist and completely drained of blood.
Drained of blood? Well, it was a vampire.
Completely drained of blood.
It was like there was a vampire killed her.
Some of her organs, such as her intestines, had been removed and neatly placed underneath her buttocks.
Oh, my Lord.
Damn.
That's like some Jack the Ripper type work there.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, whoa, what's going on here? Oh, yeah, I got some on the back. So, yeah, pieces of flesh had been cut away from her thighs and breasts, and her stomach was full of feces, leading some to believe that she'd been forced to eat them before she was killed.
That is disturbing.
That's pretty savage, and you can see there's a picture of it right here.
That's disturbing. Poor woman.
Oh. She's underneath the sheet. But apparently it was cut in half and then like placed a little bit away from each other with her hands above her head.
Poor soul.
Bit crazy.
Poor lady.
The most chilling mutilations, however, were the lacerations on her face. The killer had sliced each side of her face from the corners of her mouth to her ears, creating what's known as a Glasgow smile.
Like the Joker?
From side of the mouth right up to the ears.
It's called the Glasgow smile because Glasgow gangs used to, and apparently even still do today sometimes, do that. It's like a thing that's known from the underground gangster lifestyle of Glasgow. They will give you a Glasgow smile. They'll cut your face, like, as you said, Bullwinkle, like the Joker.
Since the body had already been washed clean, Los Angeles Police Department detectives concluded that she must have been killed elsewhere before being dumped in Leimert Park. Near the body, detectives noted a heel print and a cement sack with traces of blood that had presumably been used to transport her body to the vacant lot. The LAPD reached out to the FBI to help identify the body by searching their fingerprint database. Short's fingerprints turned up rather quickly because she'd applied for a job as a clerk at the commissary of the U.S. Army's Camp Cook in California back in 1943. And then her prints turned up a second time since she'd been arrested by the Santa Barbara Police Department for underage drinking just 7 months after she'd applied to the job. The FBI also had her mugshot from her arrest, which they provided to the press. Before long, the media began reporting every salacious detail that they could find about Short. And I got a pretty nasty picture here. So this is the autopsy picture. You can kind of see the Glasgow smile on there. Pretty savage, man. Poor lady.
Poor lady. Rest in peace. Poor lady. I hope that she was passed away when whoever did that to her.
Yeah.
Even though that's still grotesque. I just hope that she didn't feel that pain.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so I think this is the next page. On January 21st, about a week after the body was found, the examiner received. Oh my God! I hope I'm in the right place here, man. I'm just hoping that this is actually the next page. Where's this one? I'm gonna start here.
Deputy Raymond Jr. came across some difficulties in his life, people.
I just, that when they're not numbered, and I got in a bit of a fuss a minute ago, and I'm like...
He's accidentally rearranged his papers, and now we don't know friend from foe.
I got a bit flustered, man. Got a bit flustered.
Got a little bit flustered.
Mysterious.
We were sort of at the beginning of the tale of the Black Dahlia. And we sort of lost our way in life, which sometimes we all do. But it's all become clear. Clarity has reached the situation.
Quite right.
We're back.
It's back over to Deputy Raymond Jr. to carry on this week's mystery, which, of course, is about the Black Dahlia. So over to you, Raymond.
Black Dahlia, she was found in the park, and we got to that point where she was found in the park by the lady with her child, which is pretty savage in the first place.
Oh, of course.
And the police have took some pictures of the body, and they've actually gave them to the press, which is a little bit weird.
That is a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know whether it was to get like more information and stuff like that, but they handed over a certain set of pictures, including this one, to the press
with a Glasgow smile.
And she's also got her fingerprints have showed up in the FBI's database because she went for a job for the FBI or something to do with the police, and she also got arrested for underage drinking.
Right.
So that's why she showed up.
Right.
Meanwhile, Elizabeth Short's mother, Phoebe Short, didn't learn of her daughter's death until reporters from the Los Angeles Examiner telephoned her, pretending that Elizabeth had won a beauty contest.
What in God's nation?
They pumped her for all the details they could get on Elizabeth before revealing the terrible truth.
That's a pretty twisted thing to do.
It's savage, isn't it, man? So they rang up her mom saying, oh, Elizabeth's won a beauty contest. And then they got all this to get basically information out of her, like, oh, can you tell us about Elizabeth and blah, blah, blah. So they would just wanting to get more thing on the story, you know? And then at the end of the call, they said, actually, no, we're lying.
That's not true.
Your daughter's
She's dead. That's a mighty twisted thing to do. Shame on you.
Damn.
Shame on you.
Shame on
reporters, man, reporters. Anything for a story.
Unscrupulous people. Unscrupulous gentlemen and ladies.
Damn, what a horrible way to find out.
Yeah, man. So that's how her mom actually found out about that.
That's horrible.
Whoever concocted that ploy, well,
shame on you.
I hope you're proud of yourself.
Her daughter had been murdered, and her corpse had been dismembered in unspeakable ways.
Disemboweled.
Damn. As the media learned more about Elizabeth Short's story, they began to brand her as a sexual deviant. One police report read, this victim knew at least 50 men at the time of her death, and at least 25 men had been seen with her in the 60 days preceding her death. She was known as a teaser of men.
Oh my lord. A teaser of man. Seductress of the night.
A seductress of the male anatomy.
Oh baby.
They gave Short the nickname the Black Dahlia due to a reported preference for wearing a lot of sheer black clothing and her jet black hair.
Right. Oh, I guess, do you know what? It's just dawned on me, I was saying about flowers. So she was obviously a beautiful woman. Mm-hmm. And obviously flowers are beautiful. Mm-hmm. And flowers smell very nice. And so do beautiful women. This is what it's about.
Apparently as well, this was a reference to the movie The Blue Dahlia, which was out at the time.
Right.
So there was a famous movie of a beautiful woman in it called The Blue Dahlia. So they called her the Black Dahlia because she was all in black.
And it's a dark case, so it's black.
Oh, yeah. It's also a very dark case. Some people spread the false rumor that Short was a prostitute, while others baselessly claimed that she liked to tease men because she was a lesbian.
Well, that's a bit strange. That's also very contradictory evidence there. Yeah. On the one hand, you're a lesbian. On the other hand,
you're a teaser of man.
You're a prostitute to the male anatomy.
Adding to her mystique, Short was reportedly a Hollywood hopeful.
All right.
She had moved to Los Angeles just 6 months before her death and worked as a waitress. Sadly, she had no known acting jobs, and her death became her one claim to fame. Fame, not flame.
I'm sorry to you, Elizabeth Short. That's the only thing you're known for.
I mean, who doesn't hope to be a Hollywood actress at that age, I suppose?
I know I did.
But as famous as the case was, authorities had tremendous difficulty figuring out who was behind it. However, members of the media did receive a few clues. On January 21st, about a week after the body was found, the Examiner received a call from a person claiming to be the murderer, who said he would be sending Short's belongings in the mail as proof to his claim.
Oh my lord.
Shortly thereafter, on the 24th, the Examiners received a package with Short's birth certificate, photos, business cards, and an address book with the name Mark Hansen on the cover. Also included was a letter pasted together from newspaper and magazine letter clippings that read, Los Angeles Examiner and other Los Angeles papers, here is Dahlia's belongings, letter to follow. Do you know when they do that thing when they cut up the news clippings and they put it making that? Yeah, man, that's cool.
Like the Riddler.
Yeah. All of these items had been wiped down with gasoline, leaving no fingerprints behind. Though a partial fingerprint was found on the envelope, it was damaged in transport and never analyzed.
Well, that's not very good.
So that's crazy. Work. So someone has actually sent, like, her birth certificate, some photos.
Proof that they had her belongings on their person.
Bit strange, man.
As a deputy, what do you think of that?
I think this is fishy.
I think it's fishy too.
I think that was the killer who sent that information to the police.
And just like with many of these cases, yet again, this is a prime example of shoddy police work.
Yep.
It would not happen in the sheriff's department. I can tell you that.
I can tell you that it definitely would not, and I believe you, Deputy. I believe you. This is shoddy craftsmanship, shoddy work on the police.
I mean, even if it was a partial fingerprint, we would have still ran that, and we would have still got some hard goddamn evidence on who that was.
Darn tootin'.
Even if it was half.
Darn tootin'.
Because then that could have been the whole story.
No.
I mean, if you did that right.
They said it was damaged in transport and was never analyzed.
Are these
You
men-
gonna analyze that.
Are these men of the
Even
law?
if it's damaged.
Are
They
these-
think they're men of the law.
Or
but
are they
ain't-
cowboys?
They are cowboys.
They're cowboys.
No
And
law
he
of
thought we
mine.
were cowboys.
I thought we were cowboys too, but it seems like they're cowboys.
On January 26th, another letter arrived. This handwritten note read, "Here it is. Turning in Wednesday, January 29th, 10 a.m. Had my fun at police. Black Dahlia Avenger." It's a bit of a weird one. The letter included a location. Police waited at the appointed time and place, but the author never showed.
Right.
What is the deal with all these like mass murderers teasing so much?
Oh, that's what I
They
get it
feed
now.
off the
So he
attention.
said, "Here it is, turning in on Wednesday, January 29th. This letter was received on the 26th, so he was saying that he was going to turn himself in on January 29th, 10 a.m.
Right.
with a location,
Right.
but he didn't show.
No show.
Right.
Afterward, the alleged killer sent a note made of letters cut and pasted from magazines to the Examiner that said, "Have changed my mind. You would not give me a square deal. Dahlia killing was justified."
Right. Interesting.
Yet again, everything sent by the person had been wiped clean with gasoline, so investigators couldn't fit any fingerprints from the evidence. At one point, the LAPD had 750 investigators on the case and interviewed more than 150 potential suspects linked with the Black Dahlia killing. Officers heard more than 60 confessions during the initial investigation, but none of them were considered legitimate. So 60 confessions.
That's mental.
Why would you do that even?
I don't know.
You know?
60
I
different people.
don't know. You know what this is
doing
pointing to in my book? Maybe possible gangster activity. Because it's the kind of thing they
Savage
do. I
murder,
can imagine
man.
if I was some mafia boss, I'd be like, you know what I'm going to do to cover our tracks?
Everyone did it.
We're gonna get these people to confess.
Get everyone, get loads of people to confess, and then they ain't going to know, did it?
Because wasn't it a thing before that if you confessed, then the case was closed?
I used to be the way.
But
yeah.
this is obviously not the way here because they
Too many people confess.
Yeah, and they thought
Gonna
no.
arrest all 50.
Do you know if this is where the whole newspaper magazine clipping letters came from? That whole trope?
Well, it was like a long time ago, so maybe it started here.
Might
or
have been the
maybe
first
it was
one.
it was
I'm
a
sure.
thing that
I'm sure, though, in some form or another, since the dawn of time, I expect
if there's
Killer-
letters to cut out, you'll cut them out.
killers have taunted authorities, whatever that authority might be, with with similar stuff. It's a primal thing. If you're
It's
a
a primal
killer,
thing.
you want attention. You want to ruffle some feathers.
It's a whole part of it, man.
Well, it's like that's what the natural follow-up to the killing.
Since then, there have been more than 500 confessions, none of which led to anyone being charged.
Why? Oh,
Man.
why would half of that?
500.
That's crazy.
At the time, as time went on and the case went cold, many people assumed that the Black Dahlia murder was a date gone wrong, or that Short had run into a sinister stranger late at night while walking home. After over 70 years, the Black Dahlia murder case remains open. But in recent years, a couple of intriguing and chilling theories have emerged.
Well, I'm looking forward to this.
Shortly after his father's death in 1999, now retired LAPD Detective Steve Hoddle was going through his dad's belongings when he noticed two photos of a woman who bore a striking resemblance to Elizabeth Short.
Where is
After
this going?
discovering these haunting images, Hoddle began using his skills as he had gained as a policeman to investigate his own deceased father.
Right.
So he found these pictures in his dad's belongings of
Right.
someone who resembled her, and now he's using his detective skills to
Right.
understand if his father.
He went down the rabbit hole.
He went down the rabbit hole.
Was
This is
his
correct.
father like one of the main guys on the case?
He just says he was a retired LAPD detective. I don't know what the thing of his father is.
Right.
We might find out. Hodder went through newspaper archives and witness interviews from the case, and even filed a Freedom of Information Act to obtain FBI files on the Black Dahlia murder. He also had a handwriting expert compare samples of his father's handwriting to the writing on some of the notes sent to the press from the alleged killer. The analysis found a strong possibility that his father's handwriting matched, but the results were not conclusive.
Imagine finding out that your father might have been the man that committed the Black Dahlia
to such
murder.
a savage murder like this as well.
Damn.
You know, we'll probably go back into it, but she got cut in half, got drained of blood, got her intestines pulled out, put under her buttocks, got pieces of her breast removed.
Fecal matter
in her stomach.
Oh my God.
Filled up.
Oh my God.
Damn. On the grisly side, the Black Dahlia crime scene photos showed that the Short's body had been cut in a manner consistent with a hemiocorporectomy.
I see.
Hemiocorporectomy, a medical procedure that slices the body beneath the lumbar spine.
Oh,
Hoddle's father had been a doctor, so Hoddle's father was a doctor.
Oh, I see.
Now we're getting into it. Hoddle's father had been a doctor who attended medical school when this procedure was being taught in the 1930s. Additionally, Hoddle searched his father's archives at UCLA, finding a folder full of receipts for contracting work done on his childhood home.
I see.
I don't see how that has any...
what connection does that have?
Yeah.
He had some building work done once.
In that folder, there was a receipt dated a few days before the murder for a large bag of concrete, the same size and brand as a concrete bag found near Elizabeth Short's body.
I see. It's all come around in circles.
All coming together.
It's all coming together.
By the time Hoddle began his investigation, many of the police officers who originally worked at the case were already dead. However, he carefully reconstructed conversations these officers had about the case. Eventually, Hoddle compiled all of his evidence into a 2003 bestseller called The Black Dahlia Avenger, The True Story. And this is the man, I'll just show you now. So this is his father, who he thought killed.
Oh, yeah. I got, you know what? I found.
See that mustache?
I've got a picture of him up here as well on the YouTubes.
I
got a picture of Mustachio, I'm going to call him.
Damn.
General Mustachio.
General Mustachio. So while fact-checking the book, Los Angeles Times columnist Steve Lopez requested official police files from the case and made an important discovery. Shortly after the murder, the LAPD had 6 main suspects, and George Hoddle was on their list.
George Hoddle. Right.
That's crazy.
Interesting.
So he was actually on their list, back in the day.
Things are falling in place.
In fact, he was such a serious suspect that his home was bugged in 1950 so the police could monitor his activities. Much of the audio was innocuous, but one chilling exchange struck out. 8:25 p.m. Woman screamed again. It should be noted that the woman not heard before the scream, but it should be noted the woman not heard before the scream.
The woman was not heard before the scream, so there was no dialogue. There was just suddenly a female scream.
Yeah,
it was
twice.
almost like she was bound.
8:25 p.m.
So I can imagine, let's say theoretically in this scenario, if he did hold Elizabeth Short against her will, maybe he had her bound and gagged.
At the house.
But you could imagine, right, even if you were gagged, if something really was so horrible, you might
would make
be able
a noise, man.
Scream sort of,
unless your mouth was completely stuffed with like socks or something.
Yeah, loud enough for an audio device to pick up on the shrieks.
Even in 1950.
Yeah.
Later that day, George Hoddle was overheard telling someone, "Realized there was nothing I could do. Put a pillow over her head and cover her with a blanket. Get a taxi. Expired 12:59. They thought there was something fishy. Anyway, now they may have figured it out. Killed her."
What?
Damn.
Well, that seems a bit ominous.
Yeah, how did they not pick him up if they heard him say that,
That seems like cut and dry. He did something wrong.
He continued, "Supposing I did kill the Black Dahlia, they couldn't prove it now. They can't talk to my secretary anymore because she's dead."
Oh, my Lord.
So that's almost like saying he killed his secretary as well, or she just might be dead for different reasons.
That could have been the woman screaming.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm just sorry. I've been looking up this man we've been talking. It seems like he did stand trial as well for some very deplorable things. It says here.
Really?
A doctor faces accusation in Marl's case. Daughter's story credited also an arrest of 13 boys. And then it's going on about how the father, Dr. George Hoddle, 38, of 512 on Franklin Avenue, was booked in Hollywood jail on district attorney's charges of 2 Marl's offenses. Yeah.
Marl's offenses.
I don't know exactly what that means, but
Doesn't sound very moral.
no, it sounds like he was done for something.
Sounds quite immoral, actually.
He was being immoral, people. He was being immoral.
Even after this shocking revelation, which seems to support that George Hoddle killed Short, and possibly also his secretary, the Black Dahlia case still hasn't been officially closed. However, this hasn't stopped Steve Hoddle from investigating his father. Steve Hoddle, sorry. He says he has found details from dozens of other murders that could possibly be connected to his father, implicating him not only as the Black Dahlia murder, but also as a deranged serial killer.
Wow.
Damn.
Hoddle's research has even garnered some attention from law enforcement. In 2004, Stephen R. Kay, the head deputy for the LA County District Attorney Office, said that if George Hoddle was still alive, he would have enough to indict him for the Elizabeth Short murder.
That's quite damning as well that your own son reckons he has enough evidence.
Yeah, he must feel like I can't believe you did this, Father. I need to dig up all this so I know the truth about you.
Yeah.
You crazy man.
You crazy father.
In 2017, British author Pugh Eatwell announced that she had finally solved the decades-old case and published her findings in a book called Black Dahlia, Red Rose, The Crime, Corruption, and Cover-Up of America's Greatest Unsolved Murder. The real culprit, she claimed, was Leslie Dillon, a man who police briefly considered the primary suspect but ultimately let go. However, she also claimed there was much more to the case besides the killer himself. According to Eatwell, Dillon, who worked as a bellhop. What's a bellhop? Do you know what a bellhop is?
I'm not sure. Maybe in working in a hotel, something to do with a little bell or something like that. I don't know. Or maybe in a hospital, someone's got a little bell, you come running. Hop to the bell. Hop to it.
So according to this lady, Dillon, who worked as a bellhop, murdered Short at the behest of Mark Hansen, a local nightclub and movie theater owner who worked with Dillon.
Right.
So this is 2 completely other people that they're saying about now, apart from this crazy man who...
Yeah, I think... Sorry, I've just looked up bellhop. It seems like, back in the day, if you were a bellhop, you'd work in a hotel.
Yeah.
And you'd be one of the guy that carried the luggage to the room.
Yeah, man, yeah.
You'd have a little uniform back in those days.
Like a porter.
Yeah, you have a nice little hat and a nice little sort of suit. And
they're quite smart people. Sometimes get in someone's car.
Yeah, maybe.
You know when they drop off the car at the front of the hotel and you get in?
That might be a slightly different occupation.
Probably a different role,
I imagine. But yeah, the bellhop man was all about the luggage, it seems. All about the customer satisfaction in the luggage department.
Oh, yeah. So, Hansen was another suspect that had eventually been let go. And the owner... Sorry, man, what's going on?
Bellhop.
Bellhop. Bellhop.
Bellhop.
Sorry, can continue on with.
So Hansen was another suspect that eventually been let go, and the owner of the address book that had been mailed to the Examiner. He later claimed that he gave the address book to Short as a gift.
I see.
So he's tied to some of the evidence that was sent to the Examiner initially.
Right.
Short had reportedly stayed with Hansen a few nights, and he was one of the last people reported to have spoken with her before her death in a phone call on January 8th. Eatwell alleges that Hansen was infuriated with Short and came on to her. Infatuated with Short and came on to her.
He liked her.
Though she rebuffed his advances.
No, don't you get anywhere near me, she said.
I don't like you. You're an old man.
Yep.
Then he supposedly called on Leslie Dillon to take care of her. Hansen, it seemed, knew Dillon was capable of murder, but didn't realize just how deranged he really was.
You deranged son of a gun.
So this is Hansen, who is this guy that came on to her, but then she didn't want none of it.
That's quite creepy.
So he asked another guy called Leslie Dillon to do the murder, but he didn't realize how deranged Leslie Dillon actually was. Previously, Leslie Dillon had worked as a mortician's assistant, where he could have potentially learned how to bleed a body dry.
I see.
And this is Leslie Dillon.
I got a picture of him up right here.
He's a handsome fella, I can tell you that. But
Dillon.
he did work in the morgue. That's it. So Eatwell also discovered from police records that Dillon knew details about the crime that had not yet been released to the public. One detail was that Short had a tattoo of a rose on her thigh, which had been cut out and shoved inside her vagina.
Oh my lord.
That's another not very nice part of this tale.
That's next level
So
graphic.
she had a little tattoo of a rose on her thigh.
To cut that off and to
Damn.
stick that in a woman's intimate place, that is disturbing, disgusting,
Damn.
just thing to do.
For his part, Dillon claimed to be an aspiring crime writer and told authorities that he was writing a book about the Dahlia case, which never materialized. So that's why he's saying that he knew about parts of the murder.
Right. I see.
It's still a bit, that he was writing a book about it.
Right.
But I don't know how he would have come across that information unless he did it.
Yeah, that's right.
That is strange.
Despite all the evidence pointing to him, Dillon was never charged with the crime. Eatwell claims he was released due to Mark Hansen's ties to some of the cops at the LAPD. While Eatwell believes the department was corrupt to begin with, she also thinks that Hansen contributed largely to its corruption by exploiting his ties to certain officers. Another discovery that lent itself to Eatwell's theory was a crime scene found at a local motel. During her research, Eatwell came across a report by Aspen Motel owner Henry Hoffman. The Aspen Motel was a small 10-cabin facility near the University of Southern California. On the morning of January 15th, 1947, he opened the door to one of his cabins and found the room covered in blood and fecal matter. In another cabin, he discovered that someone had left a bundle of women's clothes wrapped up in brown paper, which also stained with blood. Instead of reporting the crime, Hoffman simply cleaned it up. Why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
He had been arrested 4 days earlier for beating his wife and didn't want to risk another run-in with the police. Okay, that's why. But it's still a bit weird.
I see.
So he beat his wife 4 days prior, come to work, saw all this crazy fecal matter and blood and
So I'm not getting involved in this.
I'm just gonna clean this up.
I'm already in hot doo-doo.
Eatwell believes the motel is where Elizabeth Short was murdered. Eyewitness reports, though uncorroborated, claim that a woman who resembled Short was seen at the motel shortly before the murder. Eatwell's theories have not been proven, as everyone involved with the original Black Dahlia murder case is most likely dead by now, and many official LAPD documents remain locked up away in the vaults. However, Eatwell remains confident in her findings and truly believes that she solved the mysterious and gruesome case of the Black Dahlia murder. Though we still don't know for certain who killed the Black Dahlia, these recent theories present compelling cases, and it is possible that the truth is still out there, just waiting for the right investigation to finally bring it to the light.
Right.
Damn.
The end of the case.
That's the end of the case. That's all it got. So it's crazy.
Right.
So it's got like two main suspects, I would
Two ones
say.
are looking pretty strong.
Mark Hansen and the other fella.
Leslie Dillon.
Leslie Dillon. Right.
Yeah.
I see.
So,
Yeah, it's an intriguing case. I really don't know what to make of it. I don't know who I think did it, to be honest with you. I don't know.
when I was reading the first part about the
mustachio.
the man, the dad, the father.
Yeah, the father.
I mean, that sounded the fact that they heard him talking about
and the
out on
screams.
phone, and the screams and the cement bag that he bought a couple of days before the murder.
Seems pretty incriminating.
to me,
but then
that
the other
sounded
one
like
was pretty
it mixed up.
Yeah, man.
some evidence on the other one as well. But that's it, man.
That's it.
So strange that there's two different, main suspects
with quite a lot of evidence.
Yeah, they both sound so believable.
Well, it seems like she obviously, I assume, didn't mean to, but she seemed to have gotten on the wrong side of a couple of people, or maybe it's more accurate to say she got on the right side of them, but then didn't want anything more to do with them, thus causing resentment and then increasingly rage inside the hearts of these individuals. It's hard to pinpoint an exact individual, obviously, or a sole individual that had motive against her, because it seemed like there were several. I said, and I'm certainly not saying that was her fault in any way. I said she seemed to rub up people, whether it was in the right way or the wrong way, and unfortunately drew a lot of attention to herself, led to her demise.
Yeah, man. And for me, it was like the brutality of this case that was
shocking.
Was shocking to me. Like how someone can just cut someone in half like that.
I mean, murder is always a tragic thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you hear about things like cutting off tattoos and shoving up in your private parts, or Glasgow smiles, and
this poor woman was
disemboweling and force-fed feces, maybe. That's next level barbarism. Next level barbarism, folks. Well, I don't know what to make of this case. I don't know who I think did it, honestly. I do not know. Maybe if
it's still an unsolved mystery.
Maybe if some good sheriffs actually tackled the case back in the day, we could have nipped it in the bud before it became lost to the sands of time. But we'll never know. We'll never know.
It's sad that the killer was still out there until he must have passed away.
Yeah, just got to live his life.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Brutal. Well, do you gentlemen have anything more to say?
I don't like murder. I don't like death.
I agree with Drew.
Well said, Deputy Raymond Jr. Well said.
I mean, I don't like death when it's forced
murder.
Upon me. When it's murder.
Yeah.
Unfairly.
I mean, death is a natural part of life.
Yeah.
So I appreciate death.
We need to respect that as a normal part of nature. But I mean, let's face it, this woman was taken before her time in a grotesque and brutal fashion by a psychopathic killer, who was capable of disgusting acts of brutality. And that's all I gotta say. So, folks, thank you for joining us this week on Pandora's Box. We hope you've had a good one. Rest in peace, Elizabeth Short. We hope that you are now resting safe in heaven. We'll see you next week once again for more Pandora's Box shenanigans. Next week is my turn. Yours truly, Cletus Jackson, for the mystery. And who knows what I'll be talking about. Have a good week, everyone. Until then, stay safe out there, whatever you're doing. Oh, it's time for our song.
Oh, yeah, baby.
I almost forgot.
Keep tuned in now
Stay
for this
tuned
song,
in.
baby.
It's time for. It's not the end of the show. It'll be the end of the show in about 10 minutes' time. When me and Drew finish bringing you our song of the week. So let's see what we can come up with, folks. And let us know if you've been enjoying the tracks. The tracks that we've been doing. Last week was Tome of Woe. Week before that, we had Apocalyptic World. Week before that, we had Keeping the Hands at Bay. So who knows what we're going to come up with this week. Cheers, folks. Enjoy our track, and thanks for tuning in as always. Love you. Oh, I need to give a quick shout-out, I just remembered, to Millie from Malawans in town. I went to pick up a tie the other day. Nice tie, me a prawn pad thai and a chicken mass man, some spare ribs to be exact. This was on last Saturday. Went in there. Nice young lady who met me at the counter was like, you know what? Every time you come in for food, I think, where do I know you from? She said, and then I realized you're the Pandora's Box guy, aren't you? And I was like, well, yes, I am, ma'am. You listen to Pandora's Box, do you? And she was like, yes, I do. And I was like, well, thank you very much for listening. She went to the kitchen to get my food. When she passed over, I said, what's your name, young lady? She said, Millie. I said, okay, Millie, I'll give you a shout out on the show. And I almost forgot, but I didn't. So
there it is.
Friend of the pod.
Thank you, Millie. You are a friend of the pod. Thank you for your service to me every time I come to Malawans, and thank you just in general to Malawans, the Thai restaurant in Bridgewater, Somerset, for just the delicious Thai cuisine. I love Thai food. Yeah, what can I say? I've had many a delicious meal from Malawans, so thanks, Millie. Thanks to all at Malawans, and thank you to all our friends of the pod. And I'm just going to quickly give a shout out to Jack Popham as well, because I can't remember if I gave a shout out to him before. I know I told him I'd give him a shout out, and I can't remember if I ever did. Funnily enough, I saw him in Malawans as well. So, Malawans seems to be a hub. Malawans Restaurant Bridgewater is a hub for Pandora's Box listeners. Obviously, Thai food and Pandora's Box clearly goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks all. We love you. Friends of the pod, unite. Have a good week, everyone. Enjoy our song now. Cheers, folks.
Bye.
Hallelujah.
when the harsh light of day begins to fade, the moon will come. Some say they fear the dark, but not me. No, not me. Oh, the nighttime sets me free, so I can be the man I want to be. And as I walk upon the earth in the dead of night, I find my peace. I find my peace. Oh, the moon, she speaks to me, a pale love singing through the breeze. And as her words sing through the trees and the rusty leaves fly aloft and free, I feel the heart of the earth comforted in night, in twilight dreams. And when the starlight shines my way on the frosty ground, it glistens in the shade. I thank the moon for what may be, and in this moment I find solace and peace. Solace and peace. Solace and peace. Bye.